Hello, everybody. My name is Nick, also known as my online synonym. Being born in the late 2000s, it's pretty awkward because half of the interesting things that have already happened in pop culture have already happened. The most noteworthy things that are still talked about to this day have already happened. For example, the feuds between Lindsay Lohan with Paris Hilton and Hilary Duff, Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake, Angelina, Jennifer Aniston, and like Brad Pitt's marriage. All those like interesting things have already happened. But I'm one of the few who was born in 2006 through 2008 that got to experience a little bit of the 2000s nostalgia as much as I could personally remember it. And I got to enter a whole new era in the 2010s. I got to experience a new era of celebrity just as when social media was coming into play. And we got to experience we got to live through eras of our new favorite actors and actresses, singers and songwriters and like rock stars and even like our favorite YouTubers when YouTube became even more prominent in like the public eye. But let's talk about eras. Like I got to live through like a good era with one of my favorite singers of all time. I'm talking about Olivia Rodrigo's Guts era. On September 8th, 2023, Olivia Rodrigo released her sophomore album, Guts. The album was pretty successful, with being nominated for Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album at the Grammys, but unfortunately, it didn't win in 2024. And I personally think it was kind of like a snub, but that's just my opinion. The album is kind of like a continuation of her debut album, Sour, but stands out as a more confident and more mature album than the breakup album that Olivia created before. This is mainly because Guts, it's more adult, sort of. It's more angst. It's more young adult. Like, it's more like, it doesn't really focus on like heartbreak as much. It's mostly focused on the anxieties of like being a young adult and trying to like figure out who you are while also bringing up that dating kind of sucks when you're like dating when you're 18 and 19 and 20, like especially in those early 3 years between 18 and 20. It's pretty like shitty, and you're also like finding out who you are because you just graduated high school, you're going to college or like something. And a lot of the time you feel very uncertain and you just don't really know what the hell you're doing. It's a lot of guessing work. You're just going through the motions. And I'm turning 19 in 2 months at the time of this recording. My birthday's in March. I'm recording this in January. And this is my last year of being like a teenager. And I remember when Sour came out when I was 15 years old. And at 15, I was already done being a teenager. Let me tell you, I was already fucking done with being a teenager. I was so done with my teenage years. That's why I loved Brutal so much when she's saying, "I'm so sick of 17, where's my fucking teenage dream?" And I always like read it to me as, "I'm so sick of 15, and where's my fucking teenage dream?" Because like I was just so tired of like 15 already. And by the time I turned 16, it felt like I turned 40. And it was just so weird because your teenage years and your 20s is just like those 2 decades of just constantly asking yourself, will I outgrow this or is like this a problem? To quote Taylor Tomlinson. Like, is this like a phase or like a demon? Like, you know? And in your 20s, it doesn't really get any better to an extent. It's just more confusing. Confusion. It's just you're gonna like try to like figure out as much shit as possible, and you're just gonna be like in this constant race of time to like fix everything to an extent before 30, when it doesn't really work like that at all. and this is coming from someone who's gonna turn 19 and already like noticed like my teenage years wasn't really the best years of my life, and my 20s probably wouldn't be like the best years of my life, but yeah, it won't get that much better in my 20s. And that's the best part of Guts. Like it just you're just gonna it's like capturing this feeling of like yeah, those angsty feelings that I captured in Sour. Yeah, it's gonna continue in my Guts era, and it's gonna continue pretty much forever because angst in general changes over time, but it lessens with teenage. Like when you're a teenager, angst is like 100%. Like it's at 100%. When you get older, it dims a little, but the angst is it's still there. It's still there. So why am I talking about Guts? Well, I got to, I guess like to like go back to eras. I personally like love this album so much, and the songs are also very personal, witty, and relatable. As always, Olivia is always like captured so many feelings of so many other people, and she kind of like she takes the most like messy feelings that are hard to articulate it, and then she like articulates it in a song like it's the most easiest thing in the world, and it makes people feel more heard. And that's like the main reason like why like she's like very popular. But the Guts era, like it's very interesting to me, like, and I love Guts so much. I love it so much because this is like the first time in history where I've ever like was like fully invested in like a lore of a singer, and like what what made the album even possible for it to even like reach the like heights that it did. It was like the first time, and I wanted to like go over everything that happened in the Guts era, or what led up to the album Guts. And I'm just gonna be explaining the Guts era to you because you need to know like what went like everything that's been happening since 2021 up until 2024 of like what all happened in her Guts era, so we can prepare for her new era, her Lover era of her third album. That's gonna come out, I don't know, eventually. I'm not really thinking of a new album, but I'm manifesting so much right now. But let's continue to enjoy Guts. And without and without further ado, let's get into like everything that's been happening in the Guts era so far. Like yeah. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's just go back in time. It all started a week after she turned in Sour in 2021. Olivia already had the title Guts in her mind for her second album, but at the moment, she was riding high on the success of her debut album, and it was pretty good. If you remember Sour, which was 4 years ago, like it's so crazy, a lot has happened in 2021 because Driver's License came out in January, and she released her other single, Deja Vu, in April. Then May, Good For You. And then last month in April, she announced Sour was coming out. And within this time, yes, unfortunately, a lot of drama was happening with her, Joshua Bassett, and Sabrina Carpenter. And also around this time, she was still filming High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 2, which was, I don't know how, like, I'm not even gonna, like, guess how awkward it was on set, but it was, like, even though she said everyone was pretty supportive, which I buy that, like, everyone is, like, all of the cast members were supportive, I feel like it was still pretty awkward after everything to have a song come out about your relationship, and everyone has to like continue like to work together, like yeah, like the internet's not dragging you, Joshua. at all. Yeah, but overall, like the sour, the whole sour era was pretty like it was going well. So within that time, she released her Sour Prom concert. She was doing more live shows. She was getting award after award. She was appearing in magazines. She was going to like Fashion Week. She also went to the Met Gala. Her outfit was pretty good. And overall, she was just having the time of her life with her friends in the process. Her friends being Madison Hu, Iris Apatow, and Conan Gray. And around like December, she was filming for her Sour documentary in late December 2021. And like needless to say, 2021 was like a busy year. But that didn't mean that she wasn't getting material for songwriting. In late June of 2021, she was spotted a few times with a producer named Adam Faze. They were seen together at the Space Jam 2 premiere at Six Flags, with Olivia or Adams introducing the other to their close friends as their boyfriend slash girlfriend. Then they were photographed kissing against Adam's car in Los Angeles. A lot of people were not fans of this relationship. I remember this relationship pretty well. I didn't pay that much attention to it, but I was I was kind of like neutral to it. But there was a good reason why fans were not like they weren't like crazy about this relationship between Olivia and Adam. This is because Olivia was 18 at the time. She turned 18 February 20th, 2021, and Adam was 24 at the time. People have been saying that Olivia and Adam met through industry friends. And also, what got them ticked was, or what made them kind of like side eye the relationship was someone mentioning the fact that they known each other for years. And that would mean that Adam met Olivia as a minor. Yeah, that's creepy. Although I have to say, allegedly, because we might not know. But it didn't look good. The two dated for 7 months after their outing to the Space Jam 2 premiere, and they broke up. They broke up closer around like New Year's Eve, with someone posting a video of Adam with a new girlfriend and Olivia posting a picture celebrating New Year's Eve with her friends. And this wasn't really like confirmed until like February of 2022, and by that time Olivia seemed to be doing pretty well. Go to She even had the time to go on a day trip to Disneyland with her friends Conan Gray, Iris Apatow, Kid Laroi, and his at the time girlfriend Katarina DeMay. Basically, she was single and fabulous. We love that. And her and with her birthday coming up, the Grammys, and a tour, she was doing great. And and on February 20th, 2022, Olivia celebrated her 19th birthday, and it seemed like she was going like it was like it seemed like it was like a fun time. She even went to this club called the Shore Club in Los Angeles with her friends, and what made it more significant was the press saying that she, she was already being seen with a new guy, Zach Bia. But before we delve more into that, another accomplishment in April of 2022, she in April of 2022, she became a three-time Grammy winner, with one of the awards being Best New Artist, and she wore a black corseted, off-the-shoulder dress by Vivienne Westwood. The dress also had pink and black crystal details that outlined like the body of the dress. And also, Olivia decided to celebrate her win with a whole after party for herself in Las Vegas because that's where the Grammys were, with her friends Madison Hu being with her, along with her producer Dan Nigro, and most notably Paris Hilton being the DJ at the party. And she also wore like a beautiful like blue like dress that came with it. So to kind of like go back to Zach Bia. Okay, So, Olivia Rodrigo and Zach Bia met around early 2022, with her attending a party being thrown by him at the Nice Guy restaurant in Los Angeles with her best friend Iris Apatow and Kid Leroy, and Kid Leroy and his then girlfriend. The two were also spotted together at the Super Bowl, but were not photographed together. But Olivia was at the Super Bowl with Iris, Charlie D'Amelio, and Dixie D'Amelio, and also Cardi B posted like a video of her on her like Instagram story, which was pretty like cute that they got to meet. Anyway, however, he did score an invite to her birthday party, with the proof being that Tate McRae, a friend of Olivia's, posted a group picture of her and the couple, along with along with them also with Kid Leroy also being in the picture, and a photo dump of her on her Instagram, which people again were not too happy about the relationship either because Zach Bia's past with Madison Beer, whom people thought they had a very toxic relationship. The two were spotted again in April that same year in New York when she was doing her 2 shows on her Sour tour there. They were pictured together for the first time, leaving Bar Pitti, a restaurant in New York, an Italian restaurant, I think, looking very coupley. But the relationship didn't last long when, in August that same year again, it was reported that they broke up, which was like reported by sources, quotes, sources and quotes, saying that they were simply casually dating, and he had a long and they both had like huge schedules, and they had different friend groups, and also they haven't been on a date in a while. But then, like, I saw on a TikTok that someone posted to Demois, like a gossip site, on like Instagram, saying that they were also like spotted at a restaurant in London in like June or July, maybe. But you know, yeah, it was pretty interesting. Wait, yeah. The Sour tour started in April, and it started off pretty good. The tour had also like had supporting acts Gracie Abrams, Holly Umberstone, and Baby Queen. One monumental moment of the tour was her performance at at Glastonbury after Roe v. Wade got overturned, and performed "Fuck You" with Lily Allen. This was also like a pretty good move because like Olivia has like very young fans and young girlfriends, to be more specific, and it's good that they see their favorite artists being very vocal and speak about keeping their rights to their own bodies. And it's good when like celebrities like use their platform for good, and she's proven time and time again in her career that she she wants to use it for good. Next, another small note of that year, I forgot to mention this. Let's go back. Let's like rewind a month before. March of 2022, her documentary Driving Home to You came out on Disney Plus. The film was a concert film that she made for her fans who could not make it to the Sour tour. In the film, we get to see Olivia's thoughts when she was writing the album, while giving us more breakup insight with her relationship to Joshua Bassett, but never mentioned Joshua by name. But fans knew anyway that most of the album was inspired from their relationship. And I have to say, like, I can make a personal note to this, that I really did like that, like, I really did like Driving Home to You, because I remember, like, I was doing a concert that same day that the film came out, and Sour was, like, it was a good album. Like, it was, like, it's my most favorite album of all time. And Sour will always be an album that, like, captured a very poignant moment in time for me. And seeing, like, the film and, like, just going back to, like, watch it at times, like, it's very, like, I feel very at peace with the film. Now, I feel like Olivia was very at peace with performing the songs and telling her story. And I watched the film the other night, and all I kept thinking was, we're okay now. Because, I don't know, I can't really explain it. Like, I just can't help thinking, like, yeah, we're okay. Like, this rough time that, that this period captured for me, and Olivia captured for herself when writing the album, like, we're okay. And that's, like, so beautiful. But enough about that. When the Sour Tour ended, Olivia got back to the studio to write Guts, having all that material down with her. The writing and producing of the album was split between LA and New York, and, well, mostly New York, because it produced a lot of creativity and it started a new era for Liv. A lot of the time she was in New York, she was recording and producing the album at Electric Lady Studios in 2022 with a lot of like photos for evidence, paparazzi photos, her Instagram. She was in New York at the time. And in 2023, she kind of like she kind of did disappear for a minute to finish the album in general. And I was really like missing Liv for like a minute because like we haven't really been seeing her, and like obviously she was like being like very like busy and stuff. And it did like create like a whole new era with her like being in New York City. So much to the effect that she moved in. She moved to New York when the album finished, and she's now like has an apartment in the East Village, and she's basically like living out her Carrie Bradshaw like fantasy. So, and like when all that happened, she released news of her new single Vampire being out. And I actually do have like a little video clip of the basic like news of like when that happened by The Take.
Olivia Rodrigo is finally coming back with a new single and album. But what can we expect from her this time around? She hasn't released any snippets yet, but has confirmed that the song is called Vampire. While no one knows for sure what the new album will sound like, we have some guesses. The press release for Vampire stated it's the sound of an artist firmly in control, imbued with a sense of maturity and a bold confidence. And that brings to mind some other great young singers who shot to fame off of their first album and then followed up with a more confident, experimental second album, like Fiona Apple with Win the Pawn. Fast as you can, baby. Olivia is also clearly inspired by the likes of Alanis Morissette. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe she'll lean even more into the pop rock side of her first album. Whatever her new music ends up sounding like, we're super excited to hear it. What sound do you think Olivia might go for with her new album?
So basically, when she said like Vampire, her new single Vampire was coming out, I was very excited because, for obvious reasons, like I just want to like hear new music. And also, a lot of the time, like as she was like finishing like the album, I was feeling very like anxious. Like I just, there was a part of me that didn't want her to like release another album because I was hearing some stuff about like maybe Olivia was gonna be like a one album wonder, and then like the sophomore album curse, because sometimes like the sophomore album doesn't really like do that well as like the first album, because like maybe there was like so much hype and like excitement around the first album, you just kind of like try to like rush into it. And for the longest of times, like within that short period of time, people like speculate that like, well, since that her album was sour, maybe her next album will be called Sweet. And she did kind of like poke fun at that fan theory, but again, she had name guts in her mind since she turned in sour, and she took the time that she needed with her experiencing life and like going on tour and like making new memories for herself to even like get the like thoughts in her head to like even like write things down. And she was like feeling like anxious feelings and doubts herself, and she proved those doubts wrong when she did like finally like write down like what was going on when she finally wrote like the songs that she wrote for Guts. So when the album, when the song finally like came out, it did like pretty well, and it was at the top. Like I think it was like number one on the Billboard Hot 100. But with that, it came like lots of like speculation because the song Vampire was like rumored to be about her relationship with Adam Faze or like Zach Bia, but people quickly ran a story saying like the song was not about Adam Faze. I'm like, huh, interesting. Like maybe people weren't gonna like connect the dots, but like since like people have like said no, it's not about Adam Faze, like okay, like it doesn't really like like it's not really gonna like calm fans down like speculating this crap. But anyway, it didn't stop them, but with like it didn't really stop like fans like speculating like if it was about Adam or like Zach Bia because one lyric stuck out the most because girls your age know better, and it made people even more curious if it was about Zach Bia the most since like they like shut down rumors that like it was Adam Faze because Zach Bia has like a reputation of like dating very high profile girls in the industry because like he's a DJ, and DJs often have like this like reputation of like kind of just like grifting towards like the next high profile person that they can to like boost their own success. But however, some people have said that the song was about Taylor Swift. I know what you're thinking. Why would people ask that like why would people wonder that it's about Taylor Swift? Well, there's like a lot of things that have happened. There have been many rumors of Olivia and Taylor having beef since late 2021, and it all started when Olivia was faced with some plagiarism claims from other artists like the band Paramore for Good For You, her song, sounding similar to Misery Business, another song from Paramore, which people have been saying like, oh, it has like the same melody Olivia's copying, which is like something that people, new coming artists can most of the time like face plagiarism claims. I feel like being a creative, there's no such thing as original like ideas to an extent because like it's hard to like cry plagiarism when most of the things that have been created it's like already done. It's like but who has the most noise to it if that makes sense. So when that was going on, it led her to like give some royalties to the band, but then people started to notice she gave some royalties to Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff quietly for a song Deja Vu because it had some quote unquote similarities to Taylor's song Cruel Summer. This confused fans the most because these two songs are very different. Like it doesn't have the same like melody, it doesn't really have the same meaning. There's no like true like plagiarist crimes. The only song that she did give true like credit to was like the 4 3 steps back because she interpolated a song from a song from Taylor Swift's album Reputation, New Year's Day, and Taylor and Jack gave the okay, and that was like that was all like like it seemed like a good like business transaction. Like yeah, you can like interpolate this song. We don't mind. Like you're doing well. And Taylor Swift in the beginning was like very supportive. She like posted like she even commented on Olivia's Instagram saying like something about her being her daughter, and she was very proud. And she even like posted Olivia and Conan on her like Instagram when they listened to like Fearless for the first time. And it seemed like it was like all of her dreams were coming true because like her most favorite artist ever was like paying attention to her and also like praising her to the sky because like Taylor Swift is Olivia's like personal like hero. So it makes it even more confusing when fans like saw that Taylor was like demanding credits for Cruel Summer. But to go back to that, the only similarity that they had was like the yelling vocals, which Olivia mentioned that she was inspired by in her Rolling Stone interview in 2021. She then like fanned the flames in another interview for Rolling Stones with Alanis Morissette, saying herself like she herself has had some experience with mean girls in the industry, which again like filled more rumors because people were like saying, okay, like who is she talking about? Taylor Swift? Interesting. Then another like confusing thing happened. When the Eras Tour was announced and it started in March of 2023, it was a huge red flag that Olivia Rodrigo, the biggest Swiftie ever, was never present at any of her concerts. You would think that Olivia and Iris and Conan, they're also like Swifties, her friends, are also Swifties. Like you would think the three of them would be at a concert, especially at their at her LA concert. Like she was even asked about that in an interview, and she said she hasn't had time to like go. And then Conan wasn't even talking about Taylor Swift either, which made fans even more curious because like Conan's just as big a Swiftie as she is. And when people asked Conan and Olivia what their favorite song from Midnights was, both of them said, "I haven't got the time to like listen to it." Interesting, when they had plenty of time to like listen to Fearless Taylor's version. Like it's the second it came out, they even like got early listens to it. Like the math wasn't mathing. It was sketchy. Like something was going on. The song that made fans the most convinced that there was beef going on was The Grudge, with a lyric that stood out to fans being "Your flowers filled with vitriol." And then Vampire also fueled a rumor about Taylor and Olivia. What made people like more convinced that Vampire may be about Taylor Swift was when Olivia was asked about it in an interview, and she kind of like whispered, "What am I supposed to say?" And then she kind of she kind of like deflected. She could have just like said like, "No, it's not about Taylor Swift," but she kind of like deflected and said something else. Whenever Taylor was brought up in an interview or any kind of like interview that Olivia did, she always managed to very kind of like cleverly like deflect from the topic in general, which again led fans to just constantly like speculate if there was some beef going on and if the beef was really worth like song creds and like royalties and stuff. And like I guess like there's also been some like some evidence that like disproves it, kind of like, for example, last year at the Grammys when Taylor Swift won like one of the Grammys, you could see like footage of Olivia standing up and like cheering for Taylor, and I think that action was genuine, but like I think it's like one of those examples of like maybe something went on and it's like a typical like never meet your hero situation, because Taylor is like Olivia's, or like was Olivia's biggest hero, and now she's, I mean, like think about it, like Olivia was 18, coming off of a huge like has like a huge success with Driver's License and her debut album, and her debut album to this day is still like gaining a lot of traction and like like getting her a lot of like awards and like royalties in general. And it was on her first try, on her first year. The same like similar feats that Taylor Swift has like done over the years. And Olivia has like worked hard in those periods when she was acting and like writing songs and like, you know, and like putting them out, and just simply like, I guess like with the help of like TikTok too, and like being part of Disney also like helped like, it also like prepared her for like certain things in the industry too. And it's obvious that she's very like media trained. She's not gonna like say if there was any like beef for obvious reasons. Well, mainly because like the Swifties are like very intense. It's super intense, and you just can't really say anything like even like remotely like like negative about Taylor Swift without upsetting Swifties. Even like the most smartest critique will set Swifties over the edge, and all hell will break loose for you because you upset their favorite artist. And any kind of like video I see on YouTube where it's not like an ill hate, it's not like a malice like intent to hate Taylor Swift. For example, last year I watched a YouTube video about how Taylor Swift is kind of like an example of like white feminism, and it was by Think Peace Tribe. And he himself had to like point out that like he's not trying to like openly criticize Taylor Swift to like calm down the Swifties, because it's like anything you say about Taylor Swift that's like remotely like sort of like a little bit like 1% or like 2% or like 5% negative, fans will go berserk, because again, it's like a cult sometimes, and like Taylor Swift doesn't really have that much quote unquote control, even though she does have that level of control. And it's nice to like have like, I mean, it's like, it's okay to like love like your favorite artist. I mean, like I love Olivia Rodrigo, but like I'm not her like groupie. Like I can think for myself, like if she did something like kind of like shady, I'm gonna like I'm gonna like side eye her. For example, again, I'm gonna give like another example. People have said that Olivia stayed super quiet when Joshua and Sabrina have been like getting so much backlash, and Joshua also like suffered like almost like heart failure, and people have said that like Olivia could like said something about like, hey, let's not spread hate, and you know, I'm fine, you guys, like everything's okay, like just don't spread hate. She could have said that, and I agree, she could have like said something, even though realistically it wouldn't have done that much. But like staying silent and just like letting the chaos ensue over someone who you did share a relationship with, and even though I don't know anything about Joshua and Olivia's relationship at all, so I'm not even gonna talk like I know what went on in their relationship. But all I'm saying is, but back to this song credit, this whole connection to like Deja Vu being like similar to like Cruel Summer, like some people claim that it is. I actually have a video of her interview with Rolling Stone, and she's gonna like, I'm gonna like let y'all listen to like the process of her like getting like inspiration for the song.
An incredible musician named Ryan do a lot of flutes and saxophone in this song, which I just think sound incredible. All these
came into the studio one day and I was like, Dan, I hate Deja Vu. I don't like it. I don't want to put it out. The second verse is boring, and if I was listening to it, I would just turn it off. I was like so sad. And he's like, well, if like the second verse is boring, let's like make it more interesting. And so we like changed the melody, and we put some like, I just like love like gang vocals. I love like yelling over the top of songs. And so we like added some of that, and then I feel like it like really raised the energy of song a little
Well, we
bit.
tried so many things.
Yeah.
Well, you were still in Salt Lake, and you were like, it's boring. The song is boring. So I like sped it up, and then I sped it up a little bit more, and I was like, I don't think it's the speed of the song. And then I tried adding like other instrumentation, and I was like, it started to sound weird. You just don't think like to change the song.
Yeah.
You're like trying to change the production for so long. Like, how do we make this more interesting with the production? But ultimately, at the end, it was like, oh no, we just have to actually make the song better. You know?
You get your friends to comment on our photos just so you seem nice.
Wait, that's a different song.
No, it's not. It's a different melody. We had a lot of different ideas for this thing.
Yeah, this is
a worker. We like worked on this one.
Yeah, I don't think we ever actually knew when it was done. I think it just had to be done. We were just
Literally,
like, yeah.
there was like the label was like, you have to turn it in by like today. And we were like, okay. We wanted to write a bridge. I think that was like the last part that we wrote. I wanted to be like really high energy, because you know the rest of the song was like very like serene and like eerily calm. But I wanted like the last bridge to kind of like go crazy. And I love Cruel Summer. It's one of my favorite songs ever. I love the like the yelly vocals in it, like the harmonized yells that she does. I feel like they're like super electric and like moving, and so I wanted to do something like that. And I love that that little like that's like my favorite part of the production.
She was very inspired by Cruel Summer, with the yelling vocals in the background when Taylor was screaming "I scream for whatever was worth," and then she screamed "I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard?" And then the bridge, which was like had like little inspiration from it, was kind of like strawberry ice creams in Malibu. Don't act like we didn't do that shit too. And honestly, that's the only like similarity that I could find in the song. Okay, so like let's go on to like the other video that I found, like that was actually like talking about like the whole like Taylor and Olivia situation. One woman online made actually like a very good point on like why we'll never like hear what's going on because of like fan bases and stuff. And this woman is named, it goes by the handle Fluently Ford. That's the woman's handle, and she made a pretty good take, so I'm gonna let y'all hear it right now.
Realization I had about the Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo beef, which like, come on, if you have a brain, like, you know, there's a situation going on there. I think about it all the time. Is that I realized Olivia, she's taken the high road, right? Like, she's 21 or 22. She's basically been like mogged on by Taylor Swift, who's like, you know, #1 pop star, billionaire, used to be her idol. Now they don't talk. We know something's going on. And I think it's because they share such a similar audience. And that's why Olivia is quiet, because she kind of has to be. So when you think about previous celebrity beefs, if their fan base isn't the same, like Taylor Swift and Kanye West, that's an easy beef to get into publicly, because it's like, okay, well, most people aren't going to be a fan of both. So if you're like, I'm Team Taylor, Kanye's not really going to lose out on that. Versus something like Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall from Sex and the City. If you like one of them, it's because you know of the other and you watched the show. So then this concept of picking like, I'm Team Sarah Jessica Parker, I'm Team Kim Cattrall, you're taking away a fan base from the other person you're having beef with. No, like, obviously, like, hopefully we're evolved human beings. These people are strangers. No one should be team anyone or anything. But think about that if you're Olivia and you're going up against Taylor, right, who has like the biggest, the Swifties, right? If you say anything about her, then it's going to make people on the internet think that they have to be like Team Olivia and Team Taylor. And by notion of that, every person who says that they're Team Taylor would have to no longer be Team Olivia. So of course she can't say anything about what happened or blah, blah, blah. But if Olivia Rodrigo, let's say, had beef with like a country star, I bet she would probably say something. No, it's not a hard and fast rule. Like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, of course, like that's a similar audience base and stuff like that. But it just is interesting. Like, for example, I don't know, like Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber, now that they both have makeup companies, have they eased down on the beef a little bit because they're starting to share a little bit of that similar audience base?
All I can say about that is I'm really on no one's side, really. It's like, I just think it's like, I feel like that's just grown folks' business to me. If anything, it was just simply like giving her money, and that's kind of it. Like, maybe it stung for a minute, but of course she's gonna be like feeling a little bit upset about it, and like kind of has to like distance herself for a minute, and you feel like you can't really like say anything about it because it's like, She was in the fan base herself, so she knows like how intense Swifties can be. And also I've like seen people online saying like, well, she's not talking about Taylor because people are like complaining about her talking about Taylor all the time in interviews. I don't know why people are so like, they're like complaining about Olivia expressing love for her favorite artist. I mean, people do that all the time, so I don't really know why. Don't know why people are like complaining now. So it's like anyway, enough about that. The next thing, obviously later on in September 2023, Guts comes out, does pretty well. I'm loving it. I was jamming to it all the way. One thing's for certain, like with all the BS that was happening, in 2020, good things were coming. Like, good things were happening for Olivia. And it was a new relationship. After being single and fabulous for a good minute in 2023, she started seeing a guy. In October, she and Conan took a trip to London, and she took a picture with a fan with Louis Partridge. And I remember seeing this picture, like, I was like, oh, that's cool, like, they know each other. I wasn't really... It's a weird flex to me that I didn't immediately jump on the dating rumors. Like, I really did not jump quickly on dating rumors. I don't know what it was, but I just felt like they just happened to know each other. Not one part of my brain said, oh, they're dating. I was saying like, oh, that's cool, like they know each other. Like when I saw that picture they took with a fan. And later on during that week, they have been like seeing... They were like spotted at a Halloween party and like looking very cozy as a couple. But like the picture that people saw was just Olivia giving him a side hug. And to me, it wasn't really like giving dating. It still felt like a friend to me. Like they just happened to like know each other. But like there was like articles coming out saying like apparently they like met each other maybe a few months ago. And they just been like talking to each other quite a bit. And Olivia just now went to London to a Halloween party with Joe Locke and Conan Gray. If you don't know who Joe Locke is, he plays Charlie Spring on Heartstopper. And her and Joe's maybe ex-boyfriend Sebastian Croft were all friends last year. They met the Sour Tour. She just went to like go to a party with her friends and mostly liked to see Louis, apparently. Then 2 months go by, and in December of 2023, Olivia had a performance at the Jingle Ball for iHeartRadio, an appearance on SNL, and Louis was there for both events. And it was starting to sink in, like, okay, maybe there's something going on. Still not convinced. Also, I knew of Louis Partridge. I've seen Louis Partridge before. I watched Enola Holmes, like, I think, like, in 2021 I did watch Enola Holmes. And then I watched the sequel to Enola Holmes. But other than that, I wasn't really jumping on the dating rumors. I just needed more convincing. Well, you know, God told me to like say, it was like God said, okay, you're not convinced? Okay, let me give you something else. So later on, later on during the week, the romance rumors were like very confirmed when Olivia and Louis were like spotted kissing at a gas station in New York. And again, now I was super convinced because like I remember like I was sick during this time and I was laying in bed at like 12 in the afternoon, I guess. And I remember like opening my phone on Instagram and that picture was like the first thing I saw. And I was like, wait, what? It was giving like Olivia and Adam like kissing all over again. It was like it was calling me back to that picture again. And it was like so surprising because the picture was just like, it felt like I was intruding on something. Like the whole picture was like giving like, okay, like maybe they shouldn't have like posted that picture. You know the picture. But yeah, they're dating and she's very happy. But like other than that kissing picture, their outfits in that picture looked super aesthetic, and the paparazzi, like those pictures got out, it was pretty evident like that these two were dating. And the two most likely spent Christmas together. They were continued to be like photographed all over New York. Footage of them at like restaurants in New York. Well, one footage actually, like, but like it was so clear that Louis was here to stay. And they did spend Christmas and New Year's Eve together because Louis was actually more active on his Instagram than he ever been in a like minute. And they also like gave like little clues that they were like dating by like taking pictures of each other and like posting it on their like Instagrams. Mostly Olivia. Well, mostly Louis taking pictures of Olivia and then her posting it on like Instagram. And like a lot of fans, her fans are just as eagle-eyed as the Swifties. Interesting. Interesting note. And when 2024 came, they were still going very strong. And the two also like spent they were seen in LA for Valentine's Day and for Olivia's 21st birthday. And she was also like getting ready for her Guts World Tour. It was happening later on in February. So for her 21st birthday, her, Louis, Madison, who, Conan Gray, Iris Apatow, all went to Disneyland again for like a day trip. And again, a lot of like footage was like taken of them, like some like footage of them was like taken of them at the place. And she then celebrated her birthday, and obviously like, she didn't post Louis then, but like it was obvious that Louis was there at the party. And then her Guts World Tour starts, and he was seen that opening night with Iris, and then she releases extra tracks from the album, which was already like released as like secret tracks. We already like knew the tracks, but one new song in particular. The song was So American. That's the name of the song. And I immediately was like loving the song, and I have to say, this, even though there, to me, in my book, this was as much as a hard launch as anything. Writing a love song. I feel like her writing a love song about Louis was as much as a hard launch as anything. To me, she didn't really like need to like do anything. Like, I don't need no IG hard launch. I need like a songwriting hard launch. Like writing a song about Louis and how happy he makes you is enough of a hard launch for me. Because like Olivia is so like, she always mentioned that she was so herself within her songs, and like she writes about like her life sometimes, and she does take creative licenses. She does like use other people's like stories when like, you know, like with their permission, of course. And it was just a very sweet song. And it like, you know those songs that you just listen to and you like, it just fills you up with like so much dopamine, and you're kind of like manifesting all that energy for yourself. That's So American for me. Like that song is like, I'm manifesting a whole new like love album, and I will listen to it 100 times a day. I recommend you guys like listen to like So American if you haven't like listened to like So American. For like most of the summer after opening night, like for most of the summer of 2024, we were seeing them travel around the world and like having fun while she was touring, as she should, because it was hard work for her. Yeah, like touring isn't easy. Like doing shows isn't easy. Like, I mean, I kind of like know to an extent. I've been like, I was in the orchestra like in high school and middle school, and I have been away on like I have done like away trips, and it's stressful sometimes, and it like gets a little tiring. But anyway, Louis was like around like this like middle period of time in like March or something. Louis did an interview with Vogue magazine where he was asked about the relationship itself. Actually, I have a piece of the article. I'm gonna like read it to you real quick. It said, "It can't be easy then to see himself all over tabloids and TikTok with Rodrigo. He breaks into a wry smile when her name is brought up. Dating probably shouldn't be done in the public eye, he says diplomatically. There's enough going on between two people. You don't need the voices of thousands of others in your head. I think she's got it a lot worse than I have. I can be a bit of a normal person. She's got tons and tons of eyes on her case. And I think it's like, he's right. Dating shouldn't really be done in the public eye. It was like I said in my Emma Chamberlain role model episode. Their relationship is the perfect private but not a secret aspect. And I feel like relationships in general, you don't really have to be like a celebrity or like an influencer to like understand that most relationships in general should be private but not a secret, because it's no secret that you're dating this person. Obviously, people in your life know that you're dating this person, and maybe that person does show up on your social media feed sometimes if you're a user of social media in general. But anything else, like, if it's best to like keep most things in your like just don't make a whole lot of like content with your partner or about your relationship in general like all the time, because it's like it gives people like somehow like permission to like comment and like make speculations about your relationship that aren't even there, and like puts you two in like two or more people in the relationship in a very awkward position, and like you have to like weirdly explain yourself all the time about like whatever, and it's just gonna be like, it's just not really gonna be like the best situation for you. But anyway, in August, last thing about this couple, in August, it was Olivia's turn to support Louis. Because Louis was like accompanying her sometimes on tour, like to support her, and that was very sweet of him. They had to go to the Venice Film Festival because Louis was starring in a new show called Discourse on Apple TV Plus. And the two pretty much like quote unquote hard launched their relationship with them being pictured hand in hand, to Louis posting them like on his IG story. And she later did the same when the show came out, and she posted Louis at the screening of the event like later on. And the pictures, like in general, like I was loving those pictures. Like they look super aesthetic. They look like Edward and like that couple, Edward and Bella, and Twilight. And Twilight is Olivia's favorite movie, so I feel like she has a type where she goes after guys that look kind of like the guys in her favorite shows. For example, one of her favorite shows is Sex and the City. And she kind of like identifies as a Carrie and Charlotte mix. So I felt like Adam Faze had like Mr. Big vibes, because like I saw a Halloween picture of them like one night, and he was like in a suit, and it kind of looked like the type of suit that like Mr. Big would have. And just looking at that like picture of like her and Adam together sometimes, I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of like see why she would like be attracted to him, because like he's giving Mr. Big vibes. And then something about like Joshua Bassett looking like Adam Brody. Joshua Bassett looking like Adam Brody, and like she had like a crush on Adam Brody. I think I'm saying the name right. I think that was the celebrity she was talking about. And how Olivia's crush was Edward, or she was Team Edward in Twilight, and Louis Partridge was giving like Edward Cullen vibes and like some pictures, especially at the Venice Film Festival. They were giving like that goth rock star couple. They're also giving like Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp vibes. You guys think so? They were giving Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp vibes, because like I don't know much about that couple, but like seeing pictures of them together, they do look like that 90s very grunge like rock couple. You know those couples that have like that same aesthetic, that it's like that. And you kind of want to be in that type of relationship where you and your partner would have like a similar aesthetic. And I kind of like have a light grunge aesthetic in real life. I don't really want my partner to like completely like dress the exact same way I dress, but I just felt like it would be cool if we just like naturally have like a similar aesthetic. And yeah. That's kind of like enough about the couple. Well, one last note. They're still going strong to this day at the time of this recording. The Guts tour, as you know, like I already said, it started in February of 2024, and it's still going on with some shows continuing in the summer with some like summer festivals. But like pretty much it ended like a few months, like maybe like a couple of months ago. Like it ended like a few months ago. But like it has like a concluding show on like July 1st. So anyway, the tour consisted supporting acts of like Chappell Roan, The Breeders, Remy, Pink Panthers, Benny B. Badubi. I don't think I said that right. And St. Vincent. And Chappell Roan actually like opened for Olivia on the last tour and sang backup vocals on the tracks for Guts. And the tour also donated $2 million to organizations around the world. The proceeds from those ticket sales were to support women's health care, and she made a point of that to like post about that every single like a few hours before the show, and to make sure like people were like we're donating like money to these organizations because she cares about those causes like very much. And the show also made a point to like hand out morning after pills and like also like contraceptives. But her team had to like stop it because like it was kind of like too accessible to like young girls in the audience because like she has like very younger fans, so they had to like stop that. But other than that, they still continue to like donate money to organizations for women's health care. The tour in general was like the tour was donating to like good causes. Also, they were donating to like causes for the Philippines, where she is half Filipino, so some like money went to those. Her biggest win on the tour was like playing 6 sold out shows in LA. A lot of her like closest friends also came out to support her along the way. Again, Madison Hu, Conan Gray, Iris Apatow, Gracie Abrams. She also like opened for her on the Sour tour, and also Joe Locke from Heartstopper, her High School Musical, the series co-stars, Ashlyn, Larry Saberstein, Sophia, and her boyfriend Louis. And then in late October, Olivia released a film from the Guts tour in LA on Netflix with Chappell Roan as like a special guest. Like lastly on the Guts tour, like the set list consisted of number 1, Bad Idea Right, Ballad of a Homeschool Girl being number 2, the third one being Vampire, 4th, Traitor, 5th, Driver's License, 6, Teenage Dream, 7, Pretty Isn't Pretty, 8, Love is Embarrassing, 9, Making the Bed, 10, Logical, 11, Enough for You, 12, Lacey, 13, So American, 14, Jealousy, Hot to Go for number 15 with Chappell Roan, 16, Happier, and then 17, Favorite Crime, 18, Deja Vu, 19, The Grudge, 20, Brutal, 21, Obsessed, 22, All American Bitch, 23, Good for You, and 24, the last song on the set list being Get 'Em Back. My only critique with this set list is All American Bitch being number 22, where I feel like it's like I feel like she should have like opened this like the show with like All American Bitch because it was number 1. It was like the first track on Guts. So when it makes sense to, it's not like Bad Idea Right, it's not like an energetic song. It's just All American Bitch would like get the place like going right away because like you want it. I don't know. Like it starts like All American Bitch started the vibes for Guts, just like how Brutal started the whole vibe for Sour. both of these songs are very energetic, and they set the tone for the rest of like how the album is going to go. So one, it makes sense for All American Bitch to be number one to like set the mood for the entire concert, you know? But that's like my only critique for that. And like my very last like mentions for this episode is Olivia being like awarded the Billboard Touring Artist of the Touring Artist. She was also named the new global ambassador for Lancome, a beauty brand in Paris, and has like a new perfume coming out as a new like campaign. And I mentioned that she's doing like summer festivals this summer, and also she was reported last year in May, that she is working on like her third album. So that's kind of like all I have for this episode. Like that's kind of what you missed on, like, that's what you missed during the Guts era, was basically Olivia. That's kind of what happened so far in Olivia's Guts era. And her new era is like coming very soon. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe next year. So yeah. What do you guys think will happen this era for her third album? I'm curious. But anyway, that's kind of like all I have for today. This has kind of like been like a very easy like episode to outline and like talk about, because I lived through it, and me almost being 19 and like have been like listening to her for like over 4 years, or like 5 years technically, or 6 years since I've been there. Like I've been around since like High School Musical, the series. Been like a very interesting 6 years. She basically like wrote the soundtrack to my entire childhood in general. It's super interesting how an artist can like make you feel very seen and understood and well represented somehow at the same time by just simply being themselves. And that's what Olivia's done for me and so many other people. And I just love her so much. Wish her nothing but the best. And super excited for her third album. That's kind of all I have for today. So thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye.